What day is today? February 17th, which means we're well past this year's Valentine's Day. And that makes today a great day to talk about a breakup. I mean, any day is a great day. Who doesn't like a good breakup story? I'll get to a few lessons very quickly, but I do think it's necessary to provide you a little bit context so you can see where I'm coming from. And I don't take anything that I'm going to say in this video lightly, but I've had enough time to process this whole thing. I'm now in good terms with it, so I also try not to make it sound like too heavy, but just a heads up, it's gonna be personal. So if you don't like that stuff, pause the video right now. So let's dive in. It's a long distance and long-term relationship. Honestly, now in retrospect, I'm pretty impressed at how far we've made it. It should have been a much shorter relationship, like a way shorter, instant and fleeting relationship, that's it. But it ended up much longer than that. We were able to be together that long. It probably means something, right? So throughout the relationship, it's had its highs and lows. I guess probably more highs than lows, in my personal opinion, and I would like to remember it in this way. And even for those lows, now in hindsight, I can appreciate them, really learned so much from this relationship. Even making this video, I think, it's a lesson that I'm trying to learn, carry it onto the next one, maybe. Breakup happened last year, and the way that we broke up was pretty dramatic. Not in a bittersweet way, like resentment or that, but it just happened in a very dramatic way. So last year, Australia opened its border, so we decided to go travel internationally and went to Singapore, right? And then I think just 2 days in, she got contracted to COVID. So basically things didn't go according to plan. Her spirit was pretty low. I was grumpy and mad in a way, because something happened. I don't want to go to too detailed, too personal, but anyway, just something happened. So we didn't have a great time there, and we got back from Singapore to Melbourne. Just right after touching down Melbourne, I got contracted COVID, so I basically got really, really sick. Things were pretty bad, and I think both of us just thought, how worse can it be? And we decided to break up, and we broke up. Put it in a funny way, but I was crying inside, honestly. After the heartbreaking breakup, had a really difficult time to process the whole thing. I was going to those old places that we used to go. Everywhere that I went to, I saw her. And Canberra is a pretty small city. You can cover the whole territory in a day. So there's no way that I can escape her. So I ended up talking to myself, imagining myself talking to her. I don't know how to deal with all that kind of emotions. Had no idea. So I guess I just did whatever my feelings told me to do. And then I need to do IELTS test. So that kind of distracted me a little bit. I was able to fully concentrate on that. But once IELTS was over, immediately I started having problems again. I started thinking about her, and all of these top 40 love songs started making sense to me, and I kept listening to them, taking solace from them. And Jay Chow, big shout out to Jay Chow. Jay Chow was probably my best friend at that period of time. And I got sleeping problem, wasn't able to sleep at night, so I really, really struggled. I think earlier last month, I was still not completely over it. So we completely broke contact. We never contacted each other. I didn't contact her, and she didn't contact me until New Year's Day, and I thought I wanted to talk to her because I didn't send a message to her on her birthday, and I didn't do that on New Year 2023. And I thought Chinese New Year, it's at least to send a message. So I sent a message, and then the next day I felt like I wanted to talk to her. And I guess what I was looking for was really a closure. So I talked to her, and after handing the phone, I thought I got a closure that I needed. But then the next day, I talked to one of my friends, and I think by explaining the whole thing to him, I realized I still did not get a closure that I really wanted. But right now, it doesn't really matter that much. I think we'll get to that very quickly. So that's kind of the whole thing in a nutshell from my perspective. And I think this will probably help you to understand the lessons that I'm going to talk about a little bit better. So one major thing that I learned from this relationship is you can't force outcome in a relationship, and you can only decide for yourself. You cannot speak for her or him. I learned that actually from our first breakup. So before this COVID breakup, like this whole breakup is so memorable. Like it's gonna forever be tied with COVID. Whenever you talk about COVID, I think about that. So it's gonna go down into the history forever, I guess. Anyway, get back to the point. So before that whole thing, we actually had broke up one time. I made my decision. So I wanted to give the relationship one more go because I think things could have been much better. We didn't really handle the situation really well, and we genuinely loved each other. I think there's a lot of potential for this relationship. So I flew from Canberra to Melbourne, and I told her that what my decision was. I don't want to get into her head, like by talking too much to change her mind. So I don't want to change her decision anyway. Basically, I just told her that's my decision. You make your own decision. If you want to give it one more go, we can try again. And I actually made a video talking about this whole thing, but I took it down because I felt, the whole thing that I talked about in that video, I wasn't able to live up to them. The whole thing felt like a lie to me. That's why I took it down with a lot of other videos. If some of you guys are like, long-time followers noticed that. This time as well, like after breaking up with her, I was really in a survival mode, sort of. Because you're losing someone, right? And at that kind of moment, you feel like if that person is the most important person to you in the entire world, you would do anything to get her back. You would say anything and make any process that you may not be able to make. And I was in that mode. I probably talked some shit that I wasn't able to live up to. And I'm actually glad she didn't say like, okay, let's try one more time, because that's irresponsible. I kind of also learned this lesson from there, because it takes two to make a team in a relationship. So decisions have to be made by both of you, no matter what you feel, how good you feel about the relationship. If the other person decided to discontinue this relationship, there's nothing that you can do. I guess you just have to move on. Not everybody comes into life are meant to stay. Another lesson that I learned is don't fixate on the gone relationship. Stop telling yourself stories that don't serve you well. I was having a hard time to accept the fact that she's gone. She's out of my life, like completely almost. And she was so special to me. I'm putting her on a pedestal that's above everybody else, and the chemistry that we had together, everything else got just smothered, and I stopped believing that there will be another person that I'll be able to love who will probably love me back. I stopped believing that. And that makes my life really, really tough, because in a sense your life loses meaning because you tied your whole life with that single person. When she's gone, your life is basically gone, and you're just going through motion, going through your day. I think it's very important to take that person off that pedestal, like to level the playing field. This is not to denigrate this person. I mean, she's still a very special person to me. She'll always hold a special place in my heart because she is. But this shouldn't be the reason for you to stop believing that there's another person for you. You are capable of loving many people. Every individual is special in their own way. They all have their own characters. This person that I've been together with for many years, she has so many great characters, and we got really good chemistry. But I think the thing that I'm learning that give me this melancholy or nostalgia, like give me a hard time to process this whole thing, is the belief that she's the only one. Giving myself time, and now looking back at it, I can kind of understand. The thing that I'm truly learning about is the feeling of being loved, being accepted, being supported. And whatever difficulties you're going through, she's there, she's by your side. She's always there cheering you up. I think that's a feeling that I'm truly longing for. And that takes a really special person, great chemistry for all that to happen. But it's foolish to believe you only deserve one person who would be willing to do that for you if you are worthwhile. And that leads me to the last point perfectly, which is I do and I will are two very different things. for a relationship to work, it takes more than I do. I guess at the end of the day, it all comes down to finding the right person versus becoming the right person. I think a lot of times we have this belief that there's the right person out there in the world for us, and we just need to find them. And she's like this perfect figure. Like in your honeymoon period, no matter what he does, he'll probably appear to be perfect. He or she is literally this perfect figure, but continue on this relationship, you will have challenges, you will have arguments, things you disagree on. A lot of troubles will appear. I guess it's, situations like that, you need to be able to make a commitment to that relationship and say that, okay, I'll try whatever that I can to get us through these challenges as a team. I heard that a lot of people say that I just want you to be you. I don't want you to change for me, which I disagree. I think sometimes in the relationship, you kind of have to sacrifice. You have to become this better version of yourself for the other person, but also for your own sake. Sometimes you don't even know if you're changing for the other person, you're changing for yourself. Yeah, but I do know it takes more than a simple I do for a relationship to work, especially a long time, something that you're taking seriously. You need to be willing to try to become a better version for yourself and for that person that you're trying to building a life story together with, I guess. So these are 3 lessons that I learned from this quote-unquote failed relationship. I actually don't like to think of it as a failed relationship. I would like to think of it as a learning experience, which is a really, I don't know, like a cliche way to say it. But it is truly a learning experience. I really appreciate her and everything that she brought along the whole journey. It's been a blessing. Yeah, it's been a blessing. So I really appreciate that. I guess I would like to add a couple of more things. One is, everybody knows communication is key in a relationship. Communication is what helps you to get through a lot of difficulties. A lot of problems would be nipped in the bud if you are able to communicate well. And I thought I was a good communicator, but it turns out I was a terrible communicator. I was terrible at communicating and expressing myself, especially my feelings during that relationship. I was getting a little bit better, but apparently not enough. So if you guys are in a relationship and you love that person, do make sure you communicate and express your feelings. Don't hide your emotions. I think a lot of times just putting your thoughts out there is much healthier. Sometimes we try to protect the other person's feeling by not letting our emotions out, feelings, or not expressing our own feelings in the name of love, but that ends up hurting the other person and eventually your own relationship. So communicate. Another thing, when I was trying to get over this relationship, I tried to distract myself by doing a lot of other things, but most of them, they didn't work. Eventually, what will truly help you to get over it, like getting your footings back, finding something that you truly feel meaningful to do, that you can put your whole heart to it, that will occupy yourself, that will give you this meaning in your life. Doing something meaningful, doing something that means to you, and witnessing you're getting better little by little every single day also boosts your confidence and rekindle your passion for your life, and you deserve to live a meaningful life, even though this relationship that you treasured, that you valued so much, ended in an unfortunate way. So earlier I talked about becoming that person or finding that person. Finding that person is sort of a lucky game. Like what you do, whether you be able to find that person or not, it sometimes depends on whether this person will come into your life or not, if that makes sense. So if you focus on becoming that person, working on yourself, making your life interesting, living a life that you truly want to live, and know that, have this clarity, know what kind of life you want, what kind of person you want to believe, and actually take the action to actualize this life you are manifesting about, right? I think this way you have much higher chance to actually meet that person. So right now I just want to focus on my life, all aspects of it, and bettering myself, especially my health and also my career. And I want to really committed to this PhD thing that I mentioned earlier in another video. Along the way, I believe there will be people who want to hop on a boat. Some of them maybe just want to have a tour. Some of them wanted to stay for a little bit longer. Some of them may want to continue to this whole journey to the final destination that we both want to visit. But for that to happen, you gotta start this journey. You got, make your life interesting. You gotta live a life, right? I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I hope you find it helpful. Maybe entertaining in a way. Like I said in the beginning, who doesn't like a good breakup story? If you're over 20 years old, you probably have experienced a major breakup like I had, right? It just came a little bit late in my life, but it's something that's valuable to reflect on and to experience. So I really appreciate that. Anyway, my name is Kevin. Like always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Quick plugging ad. My language acquisition course is now available. So it does not really teach things like a specific English knowledge, grammar, vocabulary, all that kind of stuff. I don't do that. It focuses on psycholinguistics, second language acquisition. It tries to teach you how you can best match the way of your study and how your brain works so that you can significantly boost your learning efficiency. If you want to level up your language learning game, you don't want to waste any more time, I guess I'll see you there. You can find the link down in the description. And thank you again for spending 10-20 minutes of your life with me, listening to me rambling. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a good day. Bye.